What does it mean to co-host on Airbnb and how can you get that started? Well, we're gonna talk about the 2 ways to do that here on the Fearless Investor channel. You're listening to me, Kyle Stanley, and I would love if you can comment down below with the biggest takeaway that you have from this video. Let's get to it. Hey, welcome in, and let's first of all talk about the ways in which you can do Airbnb, because I think there's, just like anything, right? When you're getting started and you're trying to learn a new industry, you hear about these terms and you hear about all this stuff and you're like, man, I don't even know what that means. So really, there's a few different ways that you can do Airbnb. Of course, you can own the house and you can rent out either the entire house or a room out of that house and make great money, help pay for your mortgage, or maybe even turn it into an investment property. The second way, which has become really popular since right around 2014, is Airbnb rental arbitrage, where you rent out the house, so you don't own it, you rent it, and then you sublease it on Airbnb, and then you keep all the profits. Now, this is really important to know about that method, is that you have to get the permission from the landlord. Don't do this under the rug, because that is not a way to build a business. But then there's this third way that a lot of people hear about, and there's some confusion around it. What is co-hosting? I hear about being a co-host on Airbnb, and there's like this way of which, I can just help with guest communication, or then there's ways like what Kyle is doing where he's building a business and managing essentially all of the day-to-day operations of an Airbnb. And so we're gonna clear that up for you today, and we're also going to teach you exactly how to add yourself as a co-host. So the first way is just being a co-host for a current listing owner. This is a great way to make some extra money. If you enjoy the hospitality industry, if you enjoy giving a guest a really great 5-star experience, then you can join an already existing host on Airbnb, take over that guest communication for them, help them solve some issues, and get paid to do it. Depending upon what that owner wants from you, you can either just be handling guest communication, you might even be doing pricing and calendar management. Heck, you might even be calling the vendors if there's any sort of maintenance needed, or coordinating cleaners to make sure that the place is clean before the next guest shows up. This is also a really great way to get to superhost on your own profile without even owning or having a listing yourself. When you co-host with a property on Airbnb, you actually get pulled up to superhost as long as you're meeting those minimum requirements. Of course, you can just go on to Airbnb, look up the minimum requirements for superhosts, and you can see exactly what you can do to get to that superhost status, which is really valuable for helping you to continue to add to your portfolio. So if you're doing this version as a co-host, you're typically going to come alongside with someone that has 1, maybe 2, or maybe has a business of tons of properties that you can grow with. So if that sounds like something that you want to do, if that's the type of co-hosting that you find yourself fitting into, let's show you how to actually be added as a co-host on an Airbnb listing. So this is actually really simple. The host is going to log in, they're going to go to the property that they want to add you as a co-host. When they click on that listing, they go up here to the top and click on co-hosts. And as you can see, this one doesn't currently have any co-hosts, so we would click on add a co-host. They would type in the email address that is associated with your Airbnb account, click agree, click invite, you'd get an email, you accept, and now you're on that listing. The great thing is, as a co-host, you're actually gonna have full control of everything that a regular host would. So the listing details, the pricing and availability, policies, rules, info for guests, all that, plus the calendar is all going to be something that you have full access to as if you were the primary host. And that is the last step that you will take when you get added as a host. Make sure that the host clicks on set as the primary host for you so that you have full access to everything on your listing. The second way you can be a co-host on Airbnb is actually the way that I've been able to build my business the fastest, and that is basically being the hospitality manager for property that you don't own. So what I just described to you on the first way is a co-host who is someone that's helping you with day-to-day operations. But in this second way, we're literally becoming a full-service hospitality management company that is taking everything off of the plate of the owner. The fun thing about co-hosting as a full service hospitality management company is that you can add all these properties to your portfolio, charge a premium, and you can continue to build that cash flow with properties that you don't even own. So the way the structure works is that you'll typically have 3 ways that you're charging owners. Number 1 is going to be an onboarding fee. And I started mine off at $500. It's now up to $2,000 today. But that onboarding fee is gonna help them do everything to get it Airbnb ready except for the furniture. Now, when you're setting up that property, all the materials and all the services that you hire to go and make that property Airbnb ready is something that you're going to charge back to the owner as well. So if you're spending $3,000 on all of your consumable products like pots and pans and silverware and linens and towels, you charge that back to the owner. And number three, if you have the luxury of having an interior designer in-house, you can also charge for that and make a little bit of money on top of that as well. As a full service manager, you're literally getting everything ready for this property so that by day one, when a guest is coming in, everything is completely Airbnb set. Then of course, from day to day, every single time there's a turnover, a guest issue, any sort of communication, you have full responsibility for the day-to-day operations. The type of client that you're gonna serve on this is a homeowner that doesn't wanna touch Airbnb, they don't wanna learn how to use it, they don't have the time, maybe they're a doctor, a lawyer, a real estate agent, or a real estate professional, and they want you to take over full responsibility of everything. Because of this, you're able to charge that premium that I talked about. So the biggest way that you're making money as a co-host is your management fee. Typically, I find the management fees are between 15 to 30% of the gross revenue collected on the nightly rate. So all those additional fees, the cleaning fees, the early check-ins, the pet fees, none of that is a part of the gross revenue, but the nightly rate is. So if you charge, again, let's call it $200 as a nightly rate, and you are fully booked, that's $6,000 you just collected in 1 month, and you're charging a let's call it 25% management fee. Well, 25% of $6,000 is $1,500 that you just made on a property that you have zero risk on. And if you don't know my story, this really is the way that I was able to build an Airbnb portfolio that was right around 6 properties at the time of ownership and arbitrage, and blow it up to 25 in my first 18 months. And now today we're at 50 properties, just over 50 properties, and right around 40 of them are ones that we are co-hosting. I personally think this is the fastest way that you can scale a business. Arbitrage is phenomenal. I still take on arbitrage deals. Ownership is phenomenal. I'm looking for more ownership deals on a daily basis, but I have an ability now to take on more properties because I have an amazing team, I have an amazing system, and I have an amazing business model that allows me to bring on properties without dishing out any money and making amazing cash flow. What do I define as amazing cash flow? Well, on average, each of those properties that we're co-hosting is gonna make us about $900 to $1,100 per month. And that's just the market I'm in. I'm not in a really high paying market. If you're in a beach town, if you're in a high vacation area, man, we're talking about grossing $10,000 per month. And if you're charging 20 to 25%, no longer are we talking about $900 to $1,100 per month. Now we're talking about $2,000 to $2,500 per month, again, on a property that you have no risk on. So that's really just the overview of it, but there's so many little details, little things to learn about co-hosting. And especially if you're serious about building a 6-figure business in under 12 months in this industry, you're gonna wanna check out my Airbnb Kickstart course down below. My Airbnb Kickstart course is exactly what I started with. It was a course that showed me the A to Z, how to not only get the first property, but automate it and then scale it to 6 figures. What I didn't have when I first started was a group support or anyone that I could go to get questions answered. So my course also comes along with a group support channel. Post your questions, be a part of a community that wants to see you successful. We do weekly calls, and you're able to learn from other 6 and 7 figure earners in Airbnb. Guys, this is a course that is literally, you're gonna get like $10,000 to $15,000 of value out of it. And as you'll see when you click on it, you're not gonna pay $10,000 to $15,000. You're gonna pay a very reasonable amount to make a 6-figure business out of this. So if that's something that you wanna do, just click on the description down below. I'd love to see you join our community. We're looking for great people, and I'd love to see you join that. Either way, whether it's owning, arbitraging, co-hosting, I wanna know which one you are the most excited about. Comment down below and go out there and conquer the world of Airbnb. We'll see you next time.